Shiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome you all with my love and respect. Let's see the questions. Is soul and consciousness are the same? Yes, they are same when I use both the words. Usually, in the West, the soul is given a different meaning, but when I mean both same. All the words soul, consciousness, Atma, spirit, the divine, cosmos, all these words I use to mean the same thing. I understand when soul leaves the body at this time of death, it carries all karmas and sanskaras. Does it find a new body according to these karmas? Or it can find any body? No, it finds the body based on those samskaras. Not. See, samskara means your desires. What you really wanted. What you really don't want also defines what you wanted. Understand? That's a important understanding you need to have about this karma and samskaras. Sometimes what you don't want will be so clearly engraved in you that will create the exact opposite situation for you to land. Means like, if you do not want a particular lifestyle, you will directly take birth in the opposite place, so that in your whole life you never have to taste or see that lifestyle related person. You take a full opposite step. And sometimes, if your karmas are not very strong, if you are not aware enough to sit and watch whatever your desires and fears passing, you will do exactly opposite to what you want to do. That's another one problem. That is why meditation is so important. Understand? We will ask things which are without knowing the side effects or after effects. A small story. 3 guys were brought to guillotine blade for being killed. First guy, lawyer, got blindfolded, brought, his head was put on the proper place, they pulled the blade, it did not land. The guy started shouting, legally you should pull only once, I'll sue you. So they are afraid of messy lawsuit and they released him. Second guy came and he was a priest. His head was put, blindfolded, they pulled the blade, did not land. They thought maybe the divine intervention, the divine is protecting, they released him. Third guy is an engineer. He said, you don't have to blindfold me, you can directly kill. He said, okay. They put his head, they were about to pull the blade. Hey, wait, I can see where your fault is. Understand, this fool without knowing, if he repairs it is directly going to cost his life, he starts doing the job. Sometimes, out of interest, our desires are also repairing the guillotine blade. We repair our own guillotine blade without knowing the side effect or the after effect. We just start repairing the guillotine blade. Conscious person, that is why I always tell people, whenever you find time, try to continuously be aware of what is going on inside your system. Try to spend more and more time inside the system with awareness of what is going on. From time immemorial, in the Vedic tradition, anybody wants anything, whether it is a health or wealth or anything, is asked to sit and be aware of whatever is going on inside. Looks very foolish. How can somebody get wealth by sitting under a tree and watching what is going on inside? Even to win a lottery, you have to go to the place and buy the ticket. But this is the advice continuously given for any problem, whether it is at least health we can believe. Maybe when you see whatever is going on inside, you will heal that. That effect will come on your body and your body will be healed. Maybe you can justify some kind of a interpretation, logical. But even for wealth, again and again, these guys are asked to sit under the tree and be aware of what is going on inside. Understand one important thing. When you sit under the tree and see what is going on inside, when you bring more and more awareness to your samskaras, you will find out very clearly why you are not achieving what you want. Either that want is not your own, or you are carrying much bigger wants than the want of the wealth, or you are afraid of some side effect or after effect. The clarity about the want and the after effect and side effect will release so much of energy. Our masters were so courageous and bold enough to tell again and again and again to sit under the tree and watch what is going on inside you. Whatever you ask, they have a standard reply. They know this will bring the result. I tell you again after thousands of years, I can say even in the modern world, even for the modern man, spending little more time inside him, seeing what is going on, seeing what is happening inside, your desires, the methods you are planning, the byproducts, the side effects, after effects, I tell you, will release so much of energy into your system. So much of energy into your system. You will become a visionary. A visionary does not have to move anything except his lips to create a city. See, a worker has to move his whole body to create a city. A Vaishya, a businessman, has to maybe move his hands, just the hands, to create a city, doing business. A Kshatriya, he has to move his weapons to create a city. But a visionary, a Brahmana, does not need to move anything except his lips. Means giving his vision, inspiring. Understand, in your life, you can play any role. You can play any role. World is so vast. Humanity is so vast. It can afford everybody as a Brahmanas, everybody as a visionaries. Don't think, no, if everybody sits and moves their lips, who will do the work? Who will do the work? No, don't think. We need more and more visionaries. We need more and more people who can come up with wonderful things, more clarity, more things, that's what. Actually, the great things have been achieved by being a visionary, not by being anything else. The visionary aspect, visionary energy will be awakened in you only when you have that complete awareness of whatever is going on inside. Awakening the visionary aspect in you is what we call meditation. The karmas and sanskaras, you will have more clarity, and the visionary energy will be awakened when you have more time, more energy being spent inside what is happening. Actually, the whole spirituality, essence of whole spirituality, if I have to express in one word, being aware of what is going on inside, that's all. This is the one statement, I can put the whole thing. Nothing else needs to be done. No need for sannyas, no need for brahmacharya, no need for anything. All you need for raising your consciousness every day higher and higher, be aware of what is going on in your inner space. If you are sitting with a mood of exploring, if you are sitting in meditation every day with excitement to see what is going on inside, let me find out deeper layer, deeper layer, deeper layer, you will see your consciousness is raising to the higher and higher levels. The essence is being aware of what is going on inside. After the discourse on observing the will as non-self and abiding in choicelessness, reading about how the master can save from rebirth at the time of death, I felt that I can let go of chasing enlightenment and just be with whatever unfold. If you do that, you will become enlightened now. That is the essence of whole thing. Understand? That's a very beautiful traditional proverb. If you take birth in Kanchipuram, you will become enlightened. If you have darshan of Chidambaram, you will become enlightened. If you die in Varanasi, Banaras, you will become enlightened. And if you even remember Arunachala, you will become enlightened. This is the traditional proverb. In Sanskrit, they say Smaranat Arunachalam, just by remembrance, the enlightenment. Somebody goes to Ramana Maharshi and asks, Master, is it a inspiring praise for those holy places, or is it fact? Is it literally true? Ramana Maharshi just laughs and says, is a very, I can say even Ramakrishna sometimes becomes emotional and utters this kind of statements. But Ramana Maharshi is a very cool, very balanced, very logical. And he says, fool, this statement is made so that you will relax from the enlightenment idea and you will become enlightened. See, going and having darshan of Chidambaram is not a big thing, few hundred rupees, that's all. And remembering Arunachala is not even the few hundred is not needed. Just remember. So, once you do this simple job, you feel like the guarantee is given, security is over, insurance is taken. The moment you think insurance is taken and you are relaxed, you will fall sick less. Maybe insurance companies are praying separately for you. Now I have seen always people, only when they don't have insurance, that very insecurity and fear more and more disease. When they know that they have insurance, suddenly you see they become healthy. They become healthy. So when this insurance idea enters into your system, suddenly you relax from the stress, you relax from the power which is driving you crazy towards enlightenment, and the relaxing is the right method for that experience to flower in you. In the initial level, the inspiration has to happen so that you will become centered. But once you are centered, now what needs to happen is removing the restlessness. It's actually, the enlightenment is practically like cooking. You have to add something in the beginning. and after a few minutes you have to remove that same thing from above. Something has to be added, something has to be removed. You have to add the intense seeking. After the cooking happens, maybe for a few years, the intense seeking will become part of you, and whatever unnecessary thing will come out as a restlessness. Along with intense seeking, you will always add restlessness. Because the intense seeking in the initial level will be mixture of seeking and restlessness. When it boils inside you with awareness, the seeking will become part of you. Like when you add salt or something in cooking, the juice or the essence will become part of the item, and the unnecessary things will come on the top and float. When you boil the seeking with awareness, the intensity will become part of you, and the restlessness will come and float on the top. You have to remove that. Removing the impurities. So it's practically like cooking. Initially, the same person, same master will say, add intensity, add intensity. After some time, the same master will say, relax, relax. You may think, what is going on? Yesterday's lecture he told something else, and today's lecture he is telling something else. When the intensity is added with awareness and cooking goes on, it will become two parts. One, the clarity, the juicy part, which will become part of you. Whatever you do, the intensity will be there. And the other part, restlessness, the impurity part, will come and float separately. You may have to remove that restlessness part and throw it away. You will see sometime. For some seekers, even if it is a foolish, idiotic initial level question, I will be sitting and answering. For some seekers, they would have had some strong experience and coming near me. I will say, foolishness, relax, get out. Because this moment, he needs more relaxing, not any other words. So I just say, forget about this experience, relax. There are many more things to happen. Just carry on in your spiritual practice. It depends on the situation, it depends on the person. Initial level intensity, when you boil it and when it becomes part of you, it will become two things. One, the intense practice or intensely living in the present moment. The other part, the restlessness which is added. Without restlessness being part, you will never be able to add intensity in the initial level. Because every quality, when it is boiled with awareness, gets more and more pure. The tamas, when it is boiled with awareness, will become peace. The rajas, when it is boiled with awareness, it will become bliss. When the sattva, when it is boiled with awareness, it will become pure consciousness. So every quality, when it is boiled with awareness, it will become more and more pure. Tamas means the laziness or the inert feeling. That when you boil it with awareness, it will become peace. How the transformation happens. If you are more tamas based person, the silent, mild kind of things will really appeal. You will appreciate that. Because nothing much needs to be done. This kind of fellows, for them, the simple mantra, sit and repeat that for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, that kind of techniques will really appeal. That also without moving the hand, just sit. After 10 minutes, you can just have one nap, and when you get up, I think meditation. Tomorrow. This kind of techniques will really appeal. But I tell you, even this, if you add with consciousness, it is good. At least the boiling will happen. At least the boiling will happen. Then next is the restlessness, the rajasic. For them, when you add, you need to have little more stronger techniques. Whether some kriyas, the deeper breathing, or some visualization, stronger techniques. Unfortunately, the whole modern civilization has become rajasic. Very rare. Tamas has a beauty, actually. At least a tamasic guy will not do anything wrong to others. If at all I have been asked to choose between tamas and rajas, I will go for tamas only. Of course, the best is sattva, the pure conscious quality, awareness. But if only between these two you have to choose, means tamas is best, because person with tamas will be suicidal but never murderous. Person with rajas will be murderous, violent. So whole civilization has become rajasic and murderous. That's why so much of calamity. Anyhow, when you boil rajas with awareness, you will see excitement happening. So much of excitement around you. It will become bliss. When it becomes pure energy, it will become bliss. Sattva, when the sattva is boiled with awareness, sattvic people will have a kind of a techniques like unclenching, where you can't sleep, you don't have to do anything. Neither you need to do something, nor you can sleep. You need a deep awareness. The unclenching is the kind of a sattvic technique. When you boil your sattva with the consciousness, you will see the pure awareness, the pure energy happening inside your system. So, when I say Master can save from the rebirth, of course, it is not only an insurance, it is fact also. So that actually leads you to the exact resting feeling, and as you wrote, the resting feeling is the necessary thing. That is what is expected by those words. However, today restlessness arises again. I felt a strong urge to follow the living master and or merge with the divine. Should I let it go, drop it in order to remain centered on Hamsa Mantra within, or should I follow the urge and get carried away with the thought? What should I do? One thing, if you actually drop that restlessness, you will follow the living master. If you carry that restlessness, you will have your own idea about the living master. I have always seen people who try and force themselves to bring love for the living master. They will have their own idea about love, and they will somehow struggle and try to create. If they are a little bit successful in creating that, they will practically possess me and force me to reciprocate that same love as they understand. They will be creating hell for them and for me. Please relax. Relaxing from the restlessness and just following Hamsa Mantra will really take you nearer and nearer to the living master than you trying to do something. So I'll advise only to relax. Whenever I connect with the totality, meaning expanding the feeling of I-ness, recognizing nothing being separated, immediately tiredness follows. Means you have suppressed lot of need for rest. Whenever the need for rest has arisen in you, you suppressed that part. You are sitting on a volcano. Take vacation and go and release the volcano in some place, stay in relaxed way, sleep when you feel like, eat when you feel like, at least for 20 days, so that the suppressed tiredness will be released from your system. I tell you really. I know how the diseases are created in the system, because consciously I am continuously analyzing so many different diseases and mental setup. I can tell you, once in a while, when you feel really that you are suppressing your tiredness, when you really feel like resting, forget about all other routine, take 10 days off, 20 days off, go and stay in some place where you can eat when you want and lie down when you want. Exhaust the tamas. Let the tamas leave your system. That will heal you from many diseases which happened and which are yet to happen. Suppressing the need for rest is one of the important reasons for depression. Especially in the modern day, civilization, nobody cares for you. Understand? Nobody cares for you. Everybody, the other day I was reading a one-liner. All you guys are continuously working. The fat guy who is inside the suit is getting all the credit. One-liner about an industry. All you guys are continuously working. The fat guy who is inside the suit is getting all the credit. Nobody cares. It is true. Nobody cares for you. In a way, that is why I like the Indian civilization. Nobody works. That is other extreme. Other extreme. I cannot understand so many government holidays. And each fellow, each community leader, when he becomes a minister, he will declare his community leader's birthday as a government holiday. And nobody bothers about country's productivity. This other extreme. Even when they go to office, nobody works. Especially in government offices. And in that also, government holidays. I think in the whole world, the most number of government holidays is Indian government only. Actually, between the holidays they go for work. Just for change. Not for anything else, just for change. And anyhow, maybe that is the way they manage the people without falling sick. See, if you are working in Indian government office, there is no chance you will ever fall sick. Because you have so much of food and rest. There is nothing much to be done or need to be done. As soon as I forget about expanding, the tiredness disappears. See, whenever you are aware only, the suppressed things will come out. It's like there's a big vessel, you drop many toys or items made out of wood, and you are just rotating that water with the hand, with a high force. All those objects will go and settle down. The moment you take your hands off, the moment water settles, all the products will come up, all the toys will come up. Same way as now you are continuously churning your inner space. No awareness, no silence. So all the suppressed things are going and sitting deeper way, in deep layers. The moment you take your hands off and the settlement, the peace starts happening. All the items which are there in the lower level, the deeper layers are coming up. So when you become aware, if the tiredness comes up, be very clear, it is suppressed. So take few days vacation, go on, enjoy. Can you give some advice about tiredness in that case? That is what. This is the, even having slept well, tiredness often shows up. Understand, you might have slept more hours but not well. Again, the only way to heal sleeping too many hours but not deeply is take 10 days off and sleep whenever you feel like. And when you feel like working, work. Thank you so very much for your discourses. I am watching at 4 a.m. weekdays and 2 a.m. yesterday. Then why won't you feel sleepy? Now I understand. He's saying, there's a question from Streamline Seer. The person who is seeing the streamline, his question. And 4 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, if you watch, then naturally you will have a little tiredness. Not missing a single discourse. It is so very inspiring and I feel like being in a different world. Thank you so much. Michael from Germany. Thank you for watching and my blessings. But at least after the Shiva Sutra is over, it will be over in 7 days. After that, you can take off at least 10 days and rest. Wow, really I'm surprised. The other day somebody was telling me, Swamiji, something like from 30 countries people are watching. And only when I see the questions. When I practice the meditation, feeling you are a part of everything. It is, please when you write the question, write it in a way that I should be able to read. See, it is easy for me to read your mind, not your hand. Because reading your mind, you are not involved. Straight away I do my job. And here you are also involved half. So it becomes a lot more difficult. You create maximum possible complication. So it is deep. I opened my eyes to look at the air, seemed to have lots of foamy looking waves in it. Was that the unreality of material things? Let me tell you how exactly you will feel unreality of material things. I don't know I'll be able to express, I'll try. Sometime rarely, in the dream itself, you will become aware that you are dreaming, and you will be able to change 2-3 things. Like you will be able to see the person whom you wanted, or do something what you wanted before waking up. Completely waking up is enlightenment. And before waking up, how many of you had this kind of experience even once in your life? Understand that mood. You will know you are dreaming. You know you are much better and bigger guy than whom you are thinking in your dreaming. Because of that remembrance, you will be able to move 1 or 2 things as you want. By the time you try to move the 4th or 5th thing, you will be awakened. You will wake up. Understand? The exactly same way only you will feel with the world. When you are feeling it is not real. How you will feel, you know? First change. You will realize you are bigger than what you have been told by your society. If your society tells you are a doctor with big money and some lot of wealth and all the ideas society has put in you, unconsciously you have a solid mold idea about you. First thing will happen is you will know, no, I am something much more than this, God. Second thing, you will easily be able to move the incidents in your life. Understand? The moment you have the clarity, see, in the dream, as long as you think you are the same person who is dreaming, in the dream you will have an idea about you, and as long as you think you are the same person, you will be forced and you will be taken away by the dream. You will not be able to move any incident, move anything in your dream. The dream will be a ruler. You will be ruled. Suddenly when the awareness comes, no, I am a bigger guy. I am not the guy whom I was thinking in dreaming. I am the guy with lot more power and ability, whom I was thinking as me in the waking state. The identity of the waking state will interfere, overlap on the identity of the dream person. It is like bringing the wealth from USA and spending in India. You will have more exchange. You will have more exchange rate. The identity you carry in the waking state is always more powerful than the dream state. Because in dream state you don't have a physical body. You have 2 bodies less. In the dream state you have only 5 layers. In the waking state you have 7 layers. So naturally this identity is little stronger. When it overlaps, you will have a little freedom to change few things in the dream state. But the problem is too much of overlapping, you will jump into waking state identity and you will wake up. Dream will disappear. That gap time where the waking identity is overlapping on dream identity, you feel the power, you feel the energy of the waking identity, but you are seeing the world of dream identity. That period is what I call period with miracle powers. Understand? Period with the siddhis. Here, in the waking state, when the identity of enlightenment, I can say the beyond identity, that super consciousness overlaps on you, suddenly for few years, you will feel you are more than what you are thinking, but the world is smaller, lower than what is. So you will feel more power, empowered. You will be empowered. You will be able to alter things as you want. Just like you are able to play with a dream for a few moments, you will be able to play. That period is what we call a seeker with siddhis, not enlightenment. The problem is, when too much of the superconscious descends on you, you will be awakened completely. You will neither have power nor have interest to alter the things of this world. That is fully enlightened. Jivan Mukta. Enlightened person will never have an interest to alter all these things because nonsense. You won't waste time to change things inside your dream because you know you are going to wake up. Because you know there is no use in it. So, to find out whether you are seeing the world's unreal existence is two things. First, you will see you are much more than what you have been told. Second, you will be able to alter the incidents as you want. You will be able to play with it. When this two happens, I tell you, immediately stop putting your awareness on changing things. Start putting the awareness on the higher identity which is landing on you. Then you will suddenly wake up. You will become enlightened. If you put your awareness on changing the things of the dream, playing, you will be spending a lot of energy and time and everything on this. You will be postponing enlightenment. You will be postponing awakening. The dreamer, when he feels he is higher than the dream identity, if he is fully engrossed in changing the incidents and things of the dream world, he will never be awakened. He will not put his energy on awakening. Hope I conveyed. It's very subtle. Only if you yourself have experienced what I am saying, you will be able to connect and suddenly it will click. Yes, what he said is my experience. So, understand, only if you experience these two things which I am saying, you are experiencing the unreality of material things, not otherwise. Otherwise, be very clear, you are still stuck where you are. I want to just sit in your presence and I'll miss that when you leave the US. First thing, if you know how to sit in my presence, you will realize I never leave. If you are sitting with what you think as presence, then you will start worrying of me being and leaving. Understand? The person who started feeling the presence of my absence will always be in the presence. Presence of my absence. Understand? Now you are feeling my presence because as a small I am absent. What you think as me is absent. That is why what the real presence is happening. So, it's a very tricky thing. What you think as me is not me. Again, you are missing what you think as me, thinking that as me. If you think what you think as me, Now I will be bound to fulfill what you think. And if I am not fulfilling, you will think what kind of master he is. Understand? Do not be stuck with what you think as me. Grow to what is me. That will never move anywhere. That never moves anywhere. Can a person bear a child and be enlightened? Actually, I did some conscious scanning because the other day I was reading from great enlightened master Arunagiri Nadar. He is from my native place. His biography, and it was supposed to be immaculate conception. Means no father, but suddenly mother is carrying the child. This can happen if the person is enlightened. So if the enlightened person carries the body, the child also will be enlightened. And if one more thing, important thing, when an enlightened soul, enlightened consciousness lands on the body, for those 3 moments, the mother who is giving birth, she becomes enlightened. She gets the Satori experience. This happened with Ramakrishna and Ramana Maharshi's mother, even with my own mother. When I saw her energy, I saw very clearly. She had her first experience when I took birth. So, child being carried by an enlightened lady will naturally be enlightened child. Here you are asking some personal question like, in next life I want to have a child, but I also want enlightenment. And I think both are conflicting. I don't see any conflict. You can have child and enlightenment both in this Janma itself. And I don't see any conflict that enlightened person should not have a child, or the person who is being pregnant should not become enlightened. Second question, I had learned that forgiveness prayers are important if they come from existence to the unenlightened person. Should those prayers be practiced by others or only by the receiver? Understand? Anything comes from an unenlightened person, forget it. Because they may miss some important thing when they write the program. It may become virus. Any technique, any prayer, anything from an unenlightened person, keep away from it. Save yourself. Techniques and prayers expressed by unenlightened beings and become popular are responsible for all the calamity which is happening in the spiritual field and all the problems which are happening in the spiritual field. If I have to say a small example, small story about this, a small story. A group of pandits, intellectuals in the religious field, but not enlightened. They go for a trekking in the Alps hill. Fortunately, they are lost. The world was fortunate, so they are lost. And they are trying to find out where they are. After having a long discussion for 3 days and 3 nights continuously, and consulting the map, sun, moon, compass, the head of the group says, "Now I know where we are." All others became very interested and asked, "Please tell where. Do you see that hill far away?" They say, "Yes. According to map, we are on the top of that hill." Understand? They miss some important things, means reality. they miss something which is very important, reality. So avoid anything, whether it is idea, because, understand, Vivekananda says very beautifully, do not even read the books which is written by unenlightened person. He says, I thought it is too fanatic. Actually, when I read that line, I felt too fanatic. How can this be? Later on, when I analyzed my own inner space, I understood, without even your knowledge, when something is said very beautifully, in a wonderful, punching way, you take that idea and make it as part of your inner software. Without understanding whether it is really truth or lie, if it is said very poetically, see, that is the influence of the poets and poetry on the human beings. All of us know it is not true, but all of us are influenced by it. See the drama. All of us know it is not true, but all of us are influenced by it. So these unenlightened beings, when they express something poetical, without knowing or verifying, unconsciously you record that into your inner software, and that can become part of your inner programming. To remove that and to get rid of it, it may take years. It may take years. So, after my own research, I understood what Vivekananda said is 100% true. Even casually, do not read the books or listen to the words or internalize anything from unenlightened beings. It is safe for you if you can protect yourself from the unenlightened beings. Let's enter into today's sutra. Before desire and before knowing, how can I say I am? Consider dissolve in the beauty. I can say this is one of the technique which can lead you to quantum jump. Ananda Sutra. It's neither Nitya Sutra nor Dhyana Sutra, Ananda Sutra. Just understand. Just understand and allow that understanding to work on you. The understanding of this kind of sutras will start a psychological revolution in you. If you cooperate and change your day-to-day activity based on the understanding which is happening, the more and more deeper understanding will be revealed. These are like, these sutras, you need just initiation, means click by the living master. The next thing you need to do is not practicing. The effects which are happening by that initiation, cooperating with it. Just cooperate with the effect, nothing else. Mahadeva says, before desire and before knowing, how can I say I am? All of us always think and taught, even by the Western psychology, that first we exist, then we have desires. I and mine. I and mine. Just Mahadeva shakes and turns the whole thing. He says, I can say this is one of the greatest declaration, one of the greatest weapon, one of the greatest tool given to human beings for enlightenment, for awakening of the consciousness. I have read thousands of sutras, thousands of things, but this is one of the most revolutionary and shocking. He says, the mind comes first before I. Understand? not I and then mine. If I and then mine, you can never become enlightened, because you can, whatever you do, you will be working only on the mind. Mind is mine. See, mind is also one of your property. So whatever you do will be only on your property, not on you. Operating on your properties cannot get you out of disease. Surgery being done to your car cannot heal your knees. So, all your operation, if it is on the mind, which is mind, then how can I be lost? How can I become enlightened? Here Mahadeva is revealing a very important truth. After reading that sutra, I sat and consciously verified how the I and mind gets created. Let me tell you how the truth of the sutra clicked with me. I had the fortune of listening to this sutra by one very elderly lady, saintly lady, Kuppammal. You see my biography, you will see her photograph. She was reciting the sutra and giving me explanation in Tamil, in my mother tongue. When she said, first comes mind, the desire or knowing, only on that the I is getting built. Not that I is a base, on that the mind is getting built. I was shocked. No, how can that be? We always believe and we always feel the I is first, then comes mind. I was sitting and thinking about it. One of my relatives, she brought her child, and the child was sitting in front of me. And the child was playing with some toys. And he was about to take one toy and he was trying to swallow the toy. As you know, kids always they put anything in their mouth. That is the way they taste. That is the way they relate. And I saw that this fellow is trying to swallow. I just tried to snatch that toy so that he will not swallow or he will not hurt himself. The moment I snatched, I saw not only the child was weeping and crying, his whole life is jumping out of that body to have that possession. See, I was in a deep, pure awareness, consciously alive and witnessing what is happening. Of course, the sutra which this Kuppammal, she taught me, that was in the background of my mind. I was thinking, how can this be reality? When I saw the incident, I only took something what the child thinks as mine. But I saw his whole I was shaken. His whole life, the very feeling was shaken. And he felt as if his whole life is taken away, he is being killed. Some of his part has been taken away. Suddenly it clicked in me. I could see very clearly, consciously, the I is built on mind from the young age. If the mind can be removed, I has no work. I just loses its base. I does not exist without mind. Mind is like a fabric out of which I is created. If you remove all the fabric, there will not be I. Then it has started now interesting me. That child has become my experiment guinea pig. Then I decided to play. I gave that toy to him back. The moment he put the toy in his mouth, I saw clearly his eye coming back to life, settling. Somehow fortunately I had that deep awareness and consciousness to scan what was going on inside. Because I learned the sutras after my first experience. I was able to see exactly what is going on in his system, in his being. Then again, just I removed that tie, I saw his whole eye shaken. From the young age, when you are living with unconscious, means that from the day one, the I is getting built only on mind. After some time, you collected enough of mental ideas as mind. On that mental ideas only the I is standing. Understand? Now even if all the items, outer world related things are taken away from you, you have collected a lot of ideas and knowledge as mind. On that knowledge and ideas the I is standing. The child fortunately doesn't have an idea and knowledge collected as mind. He has only the products and items as mind. The moment it is taken away, the I is shaken. This gave me a great clarity and click. I can say that was one of the great revelation. And again 2-3 times I tried that. Giving the tie back and taking it out. I know, of course, the child was shouting and crying. But I can say, it was such big clarity. It was a clarity landed. Then finally I gave the tie back to the child and said, now I got what I need. Thank you. Actually, when I read Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam is one of the great spiritual literature. Unless you read Bhagavatam, you will not understand the spiritual essence of India. Understand? Ramayana and Mahabharatam are more social part, less spiritual part. Bhagavatam is 90% spiritual, only 10% social. Why Ramayana and Mahabharatam became popular, you know? Because it's not strong stuff, it's a light stuff. Like snacks. Wherever you go, whenever you want, you can be eating. It's more like a snacks. That is why it became very popular. But Bhagavatam is the real dinner, real lunch. When I was reading Bhagavatam, there is a story which says there was a Paramahamsa who learned from ant, who learned from tree, who learned from hunter, learned so many lessons from the people whom he is meeting in the life, and he calls all of them as gurus. I was not able to understand, how can this happen? When this incident happened, I realized, yes, the child is now my guru. The child is now my guru. Gave me a great click, very big click. Understand, it's a very important fact. All you need to do is allow all your desire, fear, greed, idea about enlightenment, idea about you, idea about me, idea about world, everything to go through a change based on this clarity. That's all. When this clarity happens, when you click with this sutra, start tuning your day-to-day activity, decisions, day-to-day decisions which you make to this sutra. Don't say, no, I cannot disturb my day-to-day life. It's already settled. No. Okay, you talk whatever you want. Tomorrow you will tell something else. I cannot be changing my day every day. If you postpone that way, okay, up to you. But anybody who is courageous, understand, one Ananda Sutra click. This click is enough. Now, sit and revise all your goals, all your idea about what you want to do in the life, or what you want to become, what you are. You may be having an idea about you and your efficiency and your possibility. Your efficiency will always think as lower than your possibility. And your goal and so many other things. Now revise all of them just with this one understanding. Understand? Before desire, and before knowing, how can I say I am? It means, be very clear, your desire, your knowing does not have a base of your being. Even though continuously you are believing, this is what I want to be. That is why I carry all these desires. That is why I carry all this knowing, and that is what I am expressing in my life. Understand? Your belief that what you want to be and your belief, the path to what you want to be is not in tune. That is what Mahadeva says. Understand? This is the click. How can you say your desire and your knowing exists in you without you realizing the you? Another important line, before desire and before knowing, how can I say I? Your understanding, your desires or your property is the main reason why you are running behind, trying to fulfill, in the end of the life, feel frustrated. Understand? Go through a simple shift and reorganizing. The reorganizing. Understand? You are the property of your desires. They are just kicking you from left and right, right and left, from different corners. Decide for some time to keep them all away and see what remains. Keep all of them away, your desires and knowing, and see what remains. Just tune your day-to-day activities, decision making, to keep all these things away, whatever you think as mine, away, and see what remains. See what remains. Understand? These clicks are not such a small thing as we think. They are so powerful, so strong. Sometimes these clicks can just do a psychological revolution in 1 second. In 1 second. One small but very beautiful story from an enlightened master from southern part of India. His name is called Pattinattar. He was a very rich guy. Rich means filthy rich. He used to give a loan even to king. Once he sent his son, of course, the word filthy rich is 2 words meaning same thing. Sorry for using 2 words, sometimes you need to emphasize. But I have seen, when the inner richness is there, even if the outer richness is added, the filthy qualities never gets added. The smell of the money will never get added. Without inner maturity, if the wealth is added, I have seen the fools. Suddenly you will see 10 rings on all 10 fingers. And big watch with diamonds. And what not. All kinds of huge chains. And too many other things. I always tell people, the smell of the dead body is much better than the smell of the money. Smell of the dead body is much better than smell of the money. Because smell of the dead body, at least we will know. Smell of the money, we will not even. It will be too much. This guy had so much wealth, and he has sent his son to go and get more wealth from the other countries. In those days, the youngsters will be sent through the ship to go to different countries and make more wealth and business. And he is so greedy, filled with greed. When the son came back, he was not even bothered about how his health and where he is and all. He is only bothered about what he brought. He ran to the harbor and sun came out of the ship. His eyes are so much filled with greed. He did not even look at the sun or care to see the sun. He ran inside to see what he brought. And suddenly he realized all other guys who went with his son, they all brought gold, diamond, jewels. This guy brought only cow dung cakes. Only cow dung cakes. And this guy comes out and sees the sun and shouts at him, "You idiot, for this you went all the way there and only you brought cow dung cake." The son did not answer, just he left the place, went to the home and gave one small leaf and a needle without the hole. In needle, the sewing needle, there will be a hole where you will put the thread and sew. That needle without that hole part is broken. The needle without the hole and the one small palm leaf. This guy, this greedy rich guy, after the son left, he got so disturbed. Not only this guy brought only cow dung cake, it's a decent word for another one, some other word. If it is cows, it is holy, and if it is male cow, bulls, it is unholy. Anyhow, not only this guy brought just cow dung, and he did not even answer. He just goes and sees the heap of cow dung and kicks with the left leg. When he kicked, few cow dung cakes fell and broke. He realized inside the cow dung cake, so much of diamond and pearls are stored. Means he put all the diamond and pearls and covered it with cow dung for the sake of safety. You see, in those days, when you come in the ship, lot of pirates will come. They will snatch and take away whatever valuables you have. If it is covered inside cow dung, the pirates may not be able to recognize it is a worthy or very valuable gold or diamond or jewels. They will think, oh, this is just for cooking they have. So this guy realized his son is not only efficient, he is intelligent to protect the wealth. He earned money, made wealth, diamond, pearls, whatever he want, but he covered it with a diamond cake, so that he covered it with a cow dung cake, so that on the way, even if the pirates stop them, try to steal, try to rob their ship, they will not take this, thinking it is a useless thing. He realized, oh God, what mistake I made. I shouted at my son. First thing, I did not even care for him. Second thing, I did not have passions to look into this. Third thing, I shouted at him without even letting him give any explanation. He ran to the home to apologize and ask his son to forgive him. There, I understand the whole mood. He is in a high, agitated, restless mood. One, the mistake which he did. Second, the guilt. Both of them are haunting him. He is one moment in the peak, one moment in the valley. He reaches his home, asks the wife, where is the son, where is the son? I wanted to apologize. I have done a big mistake. She says, I don't know where he is, but he gave this leaf and the needle without the head, without the hole. You can see this. The guy picks up that box and sees the needle without the hole, and there is a word written on that palm leaf. In Tamil, it is written, Kadatra Usiyum Varadagan Kadaivalike. Let me translate. It's a beautiful verse. Even a needle without a hole will not come when you leave the body. Will not come with you forever. It means impermanence of the wealth. It was a strong blow. First thing. son telling, father. Second thing, not inefficient, lazy bum. This guy is powerful enough, intelligent enough to create wealth. After creating wealth, he is intelligent enough to protect the wealth. Then he is telling his own father, I made what you want. I have protected what you want. And I brought it and gave it to you what you want. But now understand, I tell you, this will not come, not this whole wealth, even one needle without the hole will not come for your life. Means after death. He says, impermanence of the wealth. Nothing will stay with you. Nothing will come when you are going to the ultimate place. This was a strong blow and a shock. That shock and strong blow became a click. And the guy, the rich guy, had a strong click, and that was it. The story says he dropped everything, threw everything that same moment, left the home and became enlightened. His name is Pattinatthar. The click, if the click happens in right time, one click is enough to lead you to enlightenment. It was an intense click. And not only that, when the click happened, he decided to alter his day-to-day life in tune with the click. He was courageous enough to tune his life with that click. That was a strong click. When it happened, he did not think, okay, I will mentally renounce, physically keep little bit. Maybe till my life ends, I will keep that much bank balance. No, nothing, no second thought. Did not bother about anything. He had only one thing in his heart. Courage to go with the click. To go behind the click and see the end of it. This is what I call courage of tapas. Courage of tapas. Understand? This click can do that same thing to you. I am not saying you will leave the wealth and go. No. I am not saying that. But this can do such a big transformation in you. Falling in tune, if you can arrange, if you can put your day-to-day activities in tune with this click, your day-to-day decisions in tune with this click, suddenly you will see the click is revealing deeper and deeper clicks and understandings to you. Understand? The initiation is like giving you one light. That light can be put off by any cyclone or air or blowing wind. If you protect it, then it can't be blown away. It cannot be put off. Protecting means making your day-to-day decisions and life in tune with that click. Whenever you receive a click, protect it as if you have the Kamadhenu and Kalpavriksha, means the tree which gives you whatever you want, wish-fulfilling tree, as if you got the wish-fulfilling tree. Hold it inside your heart and see your everyday decision. Again and again, your thinking revolves around that click. Your day-to-day activities are slowly falling in tune with that click. Whenever your day-to-day activities are made to fall in tune with that click, with that understanding, the deeper and deeper truths will be revealed by the same initiation. I know for sure, Pattinatthar did not become enlightened the moment he read that palm leaf. No. He had only click, a strong initiation. The next thing he did is putting all his effort and energy to tune himself to that click. He immediately started rearranging his thinking setup towards that click. He rearranged his lifestyle to be in tune with the click. The moment he did that, the deeper and deeper truths of that click was getting revealed to him. And naturally, in few months or few weeks, he has become enlightened. He has achieved the ultimate truth. Understand now, this one thing, one click. Allow this initiation to work on you. The understanding which you are having, you are the center and your desires are your own, your property. Your fears are your property. Whatever is happening inside you, your mind is your property, is a lie. You are the property of your mind. This will bring so much of disrespect to your mind. So much of rest and unclutching between you and your mind. As long as you think your mind is yours, you will never be able to stop fulfilling what it says, what it anticipates. You will never be able to escape from its roots. Even if you escape from the desires, it will attack you in the name of fear. Your mind is very intelligent. When you escape from your desires, it will create fears and make you do the same thing what it wants you to do. In a different way, it will enter through the back door. It will enter through the back door. Whether it is your fear or desire, it is not yours. The very understanding your fears are not yours will leave you so freely, with so much of rest. You don't have to stop or you don't have to escape from them. You don't have to stop them. You don't have to escape from them. At the most, what can happen? Death. Let it happen. For whom it is not going to happen? Tell me. Everybody, it is going to happen. Everything, it is going to happen. Not only for you, even for me. At least what you think as me, this body is going to die. Everything is going to die. There is nothing which is not going to die. Let you have this courage. What can happen? That's all. The other day, one of our deities which we brought to other temple, after the installation, not now, here, not in our temple, in another temple, after the installation, somehow somebody mishandled and it was little damaged, broken. Immediately these guys came and complained to me, oh, what is this? God is broken. I said, relax. Deity is broken, not God. One more important thing, as long as it is made out of some material, it has to have degradation. At some time, even if it is out of stone, after a few thousand years, it has to have some damage. Maybe for you to become enlightened, you have to feel deity is God. But sometime, anything which is a form has to break, has to disappear, will get degraded. So, understand, anything has to disappear. This one clarity. Your fears are not yours. You are not needed. You don't need to protect yourself from those fears. You are not continuously needed to protect yourself from those fears. Neither you are needed nor you need to protect yourself from those fears continuously happening. Your desires are not yours. Your fears are not yours. You are only being created and given an illusory idea to you that you exist so that you will continue to fulfill your fears and desires. Your fears and desires created a lobby and put you as a president just to fulfill what they want. This is the essence. But unfortunately, you start thinking you have power and you are fulfilling the needs of your desires and fears. Because of that, you continue to exist and you continue to create things which needs for you to exist. Relax just from this one thing. Understand, in India, the lobbying is not so open. That is why people are not able to understand what is going on. After studying few of the country's politicians, politics and the basic understanding, I was able to see very clearly now what I said. You, what you think as I, is nothing but created leader by the fears and greed. Every fear you remove, part of you will be dropped, will die. Every desire you remove, part of you will start melting away. The moment you remove all these things, suddenly you will see you don't exist. It's like I have seen some of these laser beam shows they'll do in India. From 3-4 places they will send a strong laser beam. They will all hit each other at one place and it will appear like a strong light, a jyoti or a sun is happening out of nowhere. A sun will appear in the sky because 3-4 laser beams are reflecting on each other. When you remove those 3-4 laser beams, the sun will not be there. But because you are seeing that sun for quite a long time, you forgot the laser beams are responsible for that sun to exist. You start thinking the sun has its own existence. You start thinking that you have your own existence apart from all those few laser beams which are contributing source to you. Understand? What you think as you is not Swayam Prakasa, self-emanating. You are self-emanating. The original, true you is self-emanating, not what you think as you. When you understand, your fears are not yours. Your desires are not yours. And you are the property of your fear and desire and all other things. Suddenly, you will lose respect for them. Losing respect for them will unclutch completely you from whatever you think as you. You will disappear. The sun will disappear. When the laser beams are moved away, the sun which was there till this moment will disappear. That is what Buddha calls nirvana. Extinction. The exact meaning of nirvana means extinction. What you think as you will be extincted. Understand? If you remove the fuel supply, what you think as you will be extincted. And you will realize that you don't exist apart from what you think as yours. What all you think as yours, that only adds to what you think as you. Till the age of 7, you are getting built only on the physical products you have, physical properties you have. And after some time, you acquire knowledge, ideas, desires, fears, so many things. Then you are building yourself on that. That is what I call having individual logical thinking. if you can start acting, if you are active even while you don't have the physical things around you, what you think as yours, then you have started having intellectual, logical thinking. Understand? Till the age of 7, kids cannot think without their properties. If the properties are not there, there won't be thinking. After the age of 7, nowadays maybe I can say from the age of 3 itself this starts, because the input is too much. Input is too much. After enough input is put inside, when a platform is created by the collected ideas of desires, fear and all those things, on that you start thinking you. You start creating the I. Because the platform is there from the moment you started having the I, you never think that without that platform the I cannot exist. You start thinking the I is more stronger and permanent. You may argue, no, I can think even while I don't have the properties around me. But you don't understand, the ideas and desires and fears you accumulated are also some more properties. They are also properties of your mind. That mind, if it can be relaxed, you will see the extinction happens. So understand and imbibe this click. Have this initiation with you now, and let this initiation do the process. Initiation is like a putting the fire in the huge cotton godown. All you need is allow it to be burnt, that's all. Do not dump too much cotton on that small fire. If you dump too much cotton on that small fire, you may put it off. Don't dump too much cotton or anything. Just allow that to work. Allow that fire to happen. It means you don't have to do any sadhana or any mental confusion, chaos and all those things. That is like putting more cotton on, dumping more cotton on the fire. You may put it off sometime. Don't do that. Allow that to happen. At the most, give enough space for air. Means tuning your day-to-day activity and thinking towards that initiation, towards that click, towards that inner fire. Listen and have that click and have the initiation before desire and before knowing. How can I say I am? Consider means see. See. You do not exist before you accumulate and start working on fear or desire or your properties. So whatever properties you have, you think as yours outside and inside is not you. Mahadeva says, dissolve in beauty. He says, dissolve in the beauty. When you understand, your desires need not be fulfilled by you. Your fears need not be fulfilled by you. You don't have to protect yourself from your fears. Suddenly, beauty happens to you. A deep grace of fulfillment happens to you. Dissolve in that beauty. Mahadeva says, dissolve in that beauty. Understand this one thing. Neither your desires needs to be fulfilled by you, nor you need to protect yourself from your fear, because they are not yours, you are there. You are theirs. So, just have this one initiation, one click. Let's gather for next session. Thank you. Swamiji, thank you a million times. My investment paid off today, Maheshwara. Thank you. To tell you honestly, when I was coming, I felt that I should not add any more words today. Just let you go and sleep on it. That's what really I felt. I think I'll do that.
Yes, yeah.
I should not add any more words. If I add any more words, the last part only you will be stuck. Let you go on, sleep on this word. I will do the remaining sutras tomorrow. Thank you. Let you achieve and radiate the eternal bliss, Nityananda. Thank you. Sada Shiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome you all with my love and respect. Let's see the questions. Is soul and consciousness are the same? Yes, they are same when I use both the words. Usually, in the West, the soul is given a different meaning, but when I use, I mean both same. All the words soul, consciousness, Atma, spirit, the divine, cosmos, all these words I use to mean the same thing. I understand when soul leaves the body at this time of death, it carries all karmas and sanskaras. Does it find a new body according to these karmas? Or it can find any body? No, it finds the body based on those samskaras. Not. See, samskara means your desires. What you really wanted. What you really don't want also defines what you wanted. Understand? That's a important understanding you need to have about this karma and samskaras. Sometimes what you don't want will be so clearly engraved in you that will create the exact opposite situation for you to land. Means like, if you do not want a particular lifestyle, you will directly take birth in the opposite place, so that in your whole life you never have to taste or see that lifestyle related person. You take a full opposite step. And sometimes, if your karmas are not very strong, if you are not aware enough to sit and watch whatever your desires and fears passing, you will do exactly opposite to what you want to do. That's another one problem. That is why meditation is so important. Understand? We will ask things which are without knowing the side effects or after effects. A small story. 3 guys were brought to guillotine blade for being killed. First guy, lawyer, got blindfolded, brought, his head was put on the proper place. They pulled the blade, it did not land. The guy started shouting, legally you should pull only once, I'll sue you. So they are afraid of messy lawsuit and they released him. Second guy came and he was a priest. His head was put, blindfolded. They pulled the blade, did not land. They thought maybe the divine intervention, the divine is protecting. They released him. Third guy is an engineer. He said, you don't have to blindfold me, you can directly kill. He said, okay. They put his head. They were about to pull the blade. Hey, wait, I can see where your fault is. Understand, this fool without knowing if he repairs, it is directly going to cost his life. He starts doing the job. Sometimes, out of interest, our desires are also repairing the guillotine blade. We repair our own guillotine blade without knowing the side effect or the after effect. We just start repairing the guillotine blade. Conscious person, that is why I always tell people, whenever you find time, try to continuously be aware of what is going on inside your system. Try to spend more and more time inside the system with awareness of what is going on. From time immemorial, in the Vedic tradition, anybody wants anything, whether it is a health or wealth or anything, is asked to sit and be aware of whatever is going on inside. Looks very foolish. How can somebody get wealth by sitting under a tree and watching what is going on inside? Even to win a lottery, you have to go to the place and buy the ticket. But this is the advice continuously given for any problem, whether it is at least health, we can believe. Maybe when you see whatever is going on inside, you will heal that. That effect will come on your body and your body will be healed. Maybe you can justify some kind of a interpretation, logical. But even for wealth, again and again, these guys are asked to sit under the tree and be aware of what is going on inside. Understand one important thing. When you sit under the tree and see what is going on inside, when you bring more and more awareness to your samskaras, you will find out very clearly why you are not achieving what you want. Either that want is not your own, or you are carrying much bigger wants than the want of the wealth, or you are afraid of some side effect or after effect. The clarity about the want and the after effect and side effect will release so much of energy. Our masters were so courageous and bold enough to tell again and again and again to sit under the tree and watch what is going on inside you. Whatever you ask, they have a standard reply. They know this will bring the result. I tell you again after thousands of years, I can say, even in the modern world,
आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्दप्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्त सप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिते पुत्र शङ्कर शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते हृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकवस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
साध्या ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अतिदे पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते हृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम् कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्दप्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
साध्या ह्यश्विनो मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिते पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते हृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम् कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतम् पूजयस्व विवस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरम् कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्त सप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अतिदे पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरम् भक्तहृदयनिवासिनम् नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते हृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम् कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विवस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्त सप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अतिदे पुत्र शङ्कर शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते हृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विवस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
साध्या ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्टा मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अतिदे पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते भक्तहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अतिदे पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते नित्यहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्दप्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अतिदे पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते नित्यहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
यश्विनो मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अतिदे पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते हृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विवस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अतिदे पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते भक्तहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिते पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते आदित्य हृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम् कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्टा मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिते पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते भक्तहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजा प्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिते पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते भक्तहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजा प्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्त सप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्ट मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिते पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते भक्तहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्टा मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिते पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते नित्यहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्टा मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिते पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते भक्तहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम् कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्टा मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिते पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते अक्षयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम् कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकवस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्टा मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिदे पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते नित्यहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभस्तिमान् सुवर्ण सखशोभानुर्हिरण्यरेता दिवाकर
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हरिदश्व सहस्रार्चि सप्तसप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मत्तन् शम्भुत्विष्टा मार्ताण्डांशुमान्
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
हिरण्यगर्भ शिशिरः स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भो अदिदे पुत्र शङ्कः शिशिरनाशनः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते हृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपे नित्यम् अक्षयं परमं शिवं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम् कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते रश्मिमन्तं समुद्यन्तं देवासुरनमस्कृतं पूजयस्व विभस्वन्तं भास्करं भुवनेश्वरं कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते सर्वदेवात्मको हेश तेजस्वी रश्मिभावनः एव देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पादिकबस्तिभिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते एष ब्रह्मा च विष्णुश्च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमो ह्यपाम्पतिः कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
ह्यश्विनौ मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वाग्नि प्रजाप्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः
कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते कोटिसूर्यस्वरूपिणम् आनन्दगन्ध ईश्वरं भक्तहृदयनिवासिनं नित्यानन्दं नमोऽस्तुते
आदित्य सविता सूर्य खगशोषागभ